Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom from our studios at number 5, Oula Hansen Lane at Tesano. I'm Frema Edunyame. Coming up. Minority in Parliament to boycott proceedings in support of Asin North MP court case as he is sworn in.
I, James Jachi Kwesen, having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Father of late National Science and Maths quiz star reviews desperate attempts to save son's life.
Trying to make him survive until yesterday morning when he passed on. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy, but the word of the Lord says that in all things we should give thanks to God.
So in the bulletin, President Akufo-Addo unveils ambitious plan to expand tourist sites nationwide as he commissions redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
As part of measures to make Ghana the hub of tourism in West Africa, we're building museums and other tourist attractions in various parts of the country. The construction of a museum in Heroes Park for the Big Six, a memorial park in Cape Coast for the Aborigine.
And later, food suppliers picket at National Food Buffer Stock Company to demand unpaid debts.
We've had meetings on several occasions with the minister, and all that came out of that meeting was promises, which has never seen the day of light. And that is why we are fed up. So that's why we are here. We are not living here until we get our money.
And in CNR Business, coalition of individual bondholders groups to picket at Ministry of Finance for payments.
Call to opt to start taking stronger social action interventions, not just out of our default choice, because our strategy has been to cooperate with government and come up with a win-win way.
Let's start the bulletin from the legislature. Now, the minority in Parliament has taken a stance to abstain from parliamentary proceedings on days when the re-elected Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency, James Jachi Kwesen, is scheduled to appear in court for an ongoing criminal case against him. Jachi Kwesen was sworn in as an MP for Asin North on Tuesday, July 4, by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. Now, in an address in Parliament after the swearing in, the minority leader, Dr. Kaisel Atoforsin, announced that the entire minority caucus will accompany Mr. Kwesen to court and refrain from participating in the business of the House on those specific days. There is more in the following report by Citi News' Ni Ayikwe Okai.
The former president, John Dramani Mahama, the leadership of the NDC and some party faithfuls, together with traditional leaders and the clergy, on Tuesday stormed Parliament to witness the swearing-in of the re-elected Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachi Kwesen. Now, while most of the minority members were clad in white apparel for the occasion, a few of the majority members were present to partake in the exercise. Let's take a watch at some of the major highlights of the moment.
Honorable Johnson Asiedu Inketia, Chairman of the party. I, James Jachi Kwesen, having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
To the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As by law established.
That I will uphold.
That I will uphold.
Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament. So help me God. Honorable members, congratulations.
In an address to the House after the swearing-in of James Jachi Kwesen, the minority leader, Dr. Kessie Latuforsen, served notice that the caucus would not take part in business activities in Parliament whenever the criminal case against the Asen North MP James Jachi Kwesen is being heard at the courts.
I must commend our colleague, Mr. Kwesi, for his courage and resilient spirit. He has prevailed in the face of persecution. I am aware that today he is due to appear in court, the Speaker, to defend the trumped-up charges against him. My message to him is to take solace in the good book, in Deuteronomy 31:6, which says, the Speaker, do not be afraid or terrified because of them. The Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. The Speaker, I wish to serve notice that the entire minority group will accompany our colleague to court today and any other day that he is to appear in court. Mr. Speaker, we are solidarizing with our colleague and we will not participate in the business of the House anytime our colleague is in court, and we will be withdrawing from the chamber after this ceremony if the court processes indeed happens today. Mr. Speaker, amid persecution, cooperation will certainly suffer.
On his part, the majority leader, Seiche Mensah Bonsu, denied assertions that the criminal charges preferred against the Asen North MP James Jachi Kwesen is an act of selective justice.
If this provision comes to be applied, nobody from a true conscience can say that this is persecution or selective justice. Let us respect the Constitution that all of us are sworn to uphold. Selectivity would be when you elect to apply in piecemeal the entirety of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, so people should understand and appreciate this Constitution.
The traditional leaders from Asen North who took part in the swearing-in of James Jachi Kwesen later addressed the media, calling on President Akufo-Addo and the Attorney General to ensure that the charges preferred against Jachi Kwesen are dropped.
Yes, sir. Omampani ni Attorney General say, sir, and Samuya, Etamu Airposi Yinano. Yes, sir. Omampani said, Oma. Ni entwam na yato abayawie yenyina yanya baako yanya nkabom na yemfemu oman no efisese oseman anaso se Asen North setambia court nsem ne bamu a yenya empuntuo bia ewo ho enti yesre omanpani ne Attorney General say omomoden na omuntwa sa ensem a ekoso ni nyina mu efise enya bawi yewra Kwesen ono na edi yanum kan yayi no se woni yanum kan enti saa ensam a ekokoso koto nsam ane metum makao no yenye ni nyina achiridie mesre na yankamom anya baako na praye wo hoi wukabo uyi baako a ebu na wukabo mu a emu enti yasra oman pani se
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okain for Citi News.
Meanwhile, the legal team for the Asin North MP, James Jachi Kwesen, has backed calls for the state to discontinue the criminal trial against their client. They made this known after securing an adjournment at the High Court to make it possible for James Jachi Kwesen to be sworn in. There is more in this report.
The criminal trial of the Asin North Member of Parliament, James Jachi Kwesen, was adjourned on Tuesday to Thursday, July 6, due to his swearing in. His lawyers were expected to move a motion for a stay of proceedings on Tuesday as part of an appeal filed at the Court of Appeal. The appeal is to seek a reversal of the decision of the High Court to hear the case on daily basis. But ahead of the hearing, Parliament submitted a letter to the court notifying the parties of the swearing-in ceremony. Prosecution and defense in the matter therefore applied for an adjournment of proceedings, which the court obliged and adjourned to July 6. After proceedings, Head of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Ibrahim Amaleba, expressed satisfaction at the decision to adjourn the case. He, however, backed calls for the Attorney General to enter a nolle prosequi into the matter.
I think the Attorney General does not understand his role. His role as an Attorney General is to prosecute on behalf of the Republic, and the people of this country are the custodians of the sovereignty. So if a Ghanaian feels that it's a complete waste of time to continue prosecuting the MP-elects and voices out that the Attorney General should use his power of nolle, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tian Yeboah, who did not oppose the request for adjournment after proceedings, however, hoped that the Act of Parliament issuing excuse letters for the accused will not be regular in the trial.
We hope it does not become a norm. You may be an MP, that's all right. But if you have a matter in court, you must also be in court. Because you have two arms of government, the legislature, in fact, the two arms, the legislature and then the judiciary. If you have an assignment to perform in Parliament, you do it. If you have an assignment or a duty to also perform in the court, you also do it.
Former chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Peter McMahon, who was in court, debunked claims that the ongoing prosecution is partly to account for the NPP's loss in Asin North. He revealed that the party is undertaking a review to account for the loss.
I have never seen an election in which you can pinpoint to one item which led to a defeat. There are multiplicity of functions and actions during an election.
Lawyers of Jachi Kwesen and the state will return to the Accra High Court on Thursday, July 6, and the agenda will be essentially to argue out the application for a stay of proceedings due to the Court of Appeal case that has been filed seeking to reverse the decision of the High Court to try the case on a daily basis. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajeman.
Now, in some other news, former CEO of defunct Capital Bank, Ato Asen, has been handed another lifeline to redeem financial obligations to the state or risk facing jail term. The court in May 2023 gave him a 2-month window to at least pay in full the first 20 million cedis out of the 60 million cedis he owes the state. But in court on Tuesday, the convict was not able to meet this directive. There is more in the following report.
Ato Asen was convicted in December last year on his own plea after striking a deal with the state under Section 35 of the Courts Act to avoid custodial sentence. He has, however, been having a hard time fulfilling a 90 million debt obligation imposed on him by the court in replacement of the custodial sentence. According to the agreement, Ato Asen is mandated to pay 90 million cedis by the end of this year, for which he paid 30 million Ghana cedis in December 2022 and was expected to pay the remainder in 3 equal installments in 2023. The first tranche was due for payment by the end of April 2023, failure of which placed him at risk of being handed a jail sentence. But at the end of April, the convict had only paid 6 million of the 20 million Ghana cedis. The state filed an application to get the court to issue the custodial sentence, as the terms of the agreement required that a breach of the payment plan will amount to the imposition of custodial sentence on him. The judge, Justice Eric Cheibafor, however, upon a request by lawyers of the convict, deferred hearing of the application to impose a custodial sentence. Atuesian's lawyers argued that agreements have been reached with a company for the liquidation of some properties belonging to their client to pay for the debt. But in the past 2 months, it has emerged that Atuesian has only made an additional payment of 2 million Ghana cedis. This brings the total amount of the first tranche paid to 8 million Ghana cedis, with a remainder of 12 million Ghana cedis. This means that out of the 90 million debt, the convict has paid only 38 million Ghana cedis, leaving a remainder of 52 million Ghana cedis. In court on Tuesday, his lawyers asked for 3 more months to liquidate the properties, but the judge, who believes he has been magnanimous towards Atuesian, reluctantly gave him another lifeline to the end of July to make payment of the 12 million Ghana cedis.
Now it's been given another lease of life that's up to the end of July. Let's hope, per the orders that the judge made today, we are very certain that on the next agenda date, if he doesn't pay up, the judge will have to drop the hammer. So we come to the end of this matter.
In court on Tuesday, lawyers of Atuesian outlined issues such as the seizure of the passport of their client as challenge to raising the amount. His lawyers hinted of plans to institute an application demanding for the release of his passport to him, but the state says this will be vehemently opposed.
If we're a convict, you are not supposed to be traveling. You are supposed to be being in custody. We're giving a special dispensation and then you are at home coming to court. So if you give you the passport and you go and you don't come back, Ghanaians can blame me. They can even blame the court.
Let's still stay with the judiciary because the Tamale High Court has convicted Hajia Mohammed, Serena and Latifa Bomaye to 12 years imprisonment over the murder of 90-year-old Ekia Dente at Kafaba in the Savannah region. Now, on July 23, 2020, Ekia Dente was lynched over witchcraft accusations. Police arrested 7 people, including the chief of the Kafaba community, Seidu Yaya. Hajia Serena Mohammed and Latifa Bomaye were later arrested at their hideouts. The 2 were charged for attempted murder and murder. However, the other accused persons were acquitted after the Regional Attorney General's Department legally counseled the police to do so. Now moving to politics, 3 more flag-bearer hopefuls have gone through vetting in a bid to lead the New Patriotic Party into the 2024 general elections. On day 2 of the vetting process, former Energy Minister Boakye Jakon, former General Secretary Kwabena Agyapong and Member of Parliament Kennedy Agyapong had their date with the Ukwe Committee. There is more in the following report.
The vetting process for the next NPP presidential candidate entered its second day on Tuesday, with 3 candidates taking their turns to face the Okwe Committee. 3 flag-bearer hopefuls, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former Trades Minister Alan Tremateng, and businessman Kwadwo Poku took their turns on Monday when the vetting process began. Former Energy Minister Boakye Jakon was the first to face vetting on Tuesday. The process, which took a little under 2 hours to complete, was done in a serene atmosphere. Soon to follow, Boakye Jakon was a former General Secretary of the party, Kwabena Agyapong. Mr. Agyapong, who is campaigning on a New Dawn mantra, was upbeat about what had transpired at the committee sitting and called on the party to ensure a fair process for all.
My advice to the National Executive, I've been a General Secretary myself, when you have an even-handed process and it produces a leader, it facilitates unity amongst us. And I think that as a political party, MPP, we have the numbers. If we are a cohesive unit, we are united, and we have a decent, fair process, and then the chances that we can really win in 2024 gets enhanced.
Mr. Japong also expressed confidence in his New Dawn message.
I'm very confident. This country, a lot of people have resonated positively with my message of ushering in a new dawn, a new direction, a new dimension for this country. After 30 years, we have to take a critical look at ourselves, our understanding of public service, dedication, nationalism, patriotism. We need a new Ghana. We need to recalibrate our values and get back to what is good, a collegial mentality, the public good. That is what politics is about. It's the welfare of society. So we need a new Ghanaian, all of you, not only we the politicians, everyone. The media has a big role to play, and I think that is the reason why I'm running.
The last presidential hopeful for the day was the Asin North MP Kennedy Japong. The MP's arrival at the NPP's campaign office at Kokomlemle was met by a crowd of supporters amidst singing and drumming. After his marathon vetting, Kennedy Japong could not address a scheduled media engagement as the crowd took over the premises. It's been a long day here at the campaign head office of the NPP here at Kokomlemle in Accra. There were 3 sessions for today. First was a former Energy Minister, Boakye Jako, and then came a former General Secretary of the party, Kobna Eje Ejapong. And then the MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, came after them. His session was a marathon session, lasted for just about 3 hours. That has just been done, and he's left with his entourage. Tomorrow, there are 3 more lined up. A former Agric Minister, Dr. Owusu Efriakoto, a former Trades Minister, Dr. Kofi Kunadu-Apreku, and Member of Parliament for Esikado Ketan, the Honorable Joe Kate, are expected to come for their vetting tomorrow. My name is Charles Osukumi. I've been reporting for Citi News from the NPP's campaign office here in Accra.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. I'm Frema Edunyame. Still to come. President Akufo-Addo unveils ambitious plan to expand tourist sites nationwide as he commissions redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. We have the details coming up shortly. Please stay.
Yes, we are back. Wines of South Africa, Vossa, is back in Ghana for the biggest wine show ever. Date, Saturday 15th July at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Time, 7 p.m. sharp. Wines of South Africa Grand Tasting Event 2023 is proudly brought to you by Wines of South Africa and John Williams Consults Ghana. This event is sponsored by Ghana Export Promotion Authority and Best National Bank. Partners, South African High Commission, Accra, South African Airways, and Labadi Beach Hotel. Media partners, AmayalDebra.com, Citi FM, Citi TV, Voyage Afrique Magazine, and Ovation Magazine. Don't miss out on this extraordinary event by securing your tickets now at bossa2023.eventbrite.com or call 0553-271-032. Remember to come celebrate with Wines of South Africa, Saturday, 15th July 2023, 7 p.m. at Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Wines of South Africa, welcome to our world of discovery. Strictly by invitation and reserved for 18 years and above.
Finally, anyone can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You will Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.ugoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. Ugoflip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Hello again. President Akufo-Addo has announced plans by government to construct more tourist sites across the country. Nana Akufo-Addo said government is seeking to cash in on the many opportunities within the tourism sector. Speaking at the commissioning of the redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park in Accra, Nana Akufo-Addo said the tourism ministry should do everything to attract million visitors to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park by close of this year. Citi News' Sami Wiafe has more.
The $3.5 million project, which began in July 2022, was aimed at giving the final resting place of Ghana's first president, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and his wife, Fathia Nkrumah, a facelift. The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, built in July 1992 by former President Jerry John Rawlings, has never seen any renovation work since its construction. As part of efforts to boost the tourism industry, President Akufo-Addo in February 2022 announced that government has secured funding from the World Bank to develop the tourism industry, which included the redevelopment of the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Commissioning the park on Tuesday, the president charged the tourism ministry to ensure that its target of having 1 million domestic and international tourists visit the park is achieved.
The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, which attracted some 90,000 visitors annually before the renovation, is now expected to attract over 1 million tourists annually. I'm charging the Ministry of Arts, of Tourism, Arts and Culture and its agencies to devise effective marketing and promotional strategies to achieve the target of 1 million domestic and international tourist visitations to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of measures to make Ghana the hub of tourism in West Africa, we're building museums and other tourist attractions in various parts of the country. The construction of a museum in Heroes Park for the Big Six, a memorial park in Cape Coast for the Aborigines, a memorial enclave in Tamale for the founders of the erstwhile Northern People's Party, to symbolize their participation in the drive for national independence, and the completion of ongoing works at the Bonwe Museum and the Yaya Santoa Museum, both in Ejiso, are in the offing.
The family of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah expressed appreciation to government for redeveloping the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
Members of the National Food Suppliers Association on Tuesday besieged the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company to demand monies owed them. The association says the picketing is due to government's failure to settle the over 2 years arrears owed its members. However, after several engagements with government to have their concerns addressed, the suppliers say they are yet to receive their money from authorities. Citi News' Kwekwe Drama Answer was with the protesters and has filed this report.
Those chants by the disgruntled food suppliers is directed at the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, their employer in the delivery value chain, asking for their monies to be paid. The food suppliers, who are over 270, are dotted across the 16 regions of Ghana and provide food supplies like rice, maize, oil, sugar, among others, to senior high schools upon the request from the National Food Buffer Stock Company. This arrangement is made under the school feeding program, which is a provision under the free SHS policy. According to the suppliers, government reimburses them after delivering the items to the various schools. However, that agreement has been breached at least for the past 2 years. This means the government owes food suppliers millions of Ghana cedis and is yet to pay, hence the picketing by the affected suppliers on Tuesday. Betha Amega is one of such suppliers whose money for supply to about 83 schools
over 100 billion. And our buffer, over 100 billion, and 100 million, over 10 million Ghana cedi.
Ajwa Bruni is another aggrieved food supplier who has besieged the National Food Buffer Stock Company to demand payment of 2 years arrears. She reveals she has had to run away from home to avoid her debtors.
Yesika samono enko ye yesre yenko todwegu fam sabanya ntua ye ka yentimi nko ye fie mabedi bosome miansa won kran ha mefiri bie ana mabatere mamsinie mintimi nko machi because say e ka no mede nkrofo ka mede obi ka ewo tachiman 4 billion nipa baako. Meanwhile,
the spokesperson for the association says members of the group will continue to picket at the buffer stock company until their monies are paid.
We've had meetings on several occasions with the minister, and all that came out of that meeting was promises, which has never seen the day of light. And that is why we are fed up. So that's why we are here. We are not living here until we get our money.
So this is not a kitchen. This is actually the presence of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, where these suppliers have picketed and are currently showcasing their cooking skills right in front of the facility.
It shouldn't be done here, but it will be done here. It's going to be done here, and it's going on here because we have no place to stay now. We are going to cook here. We are going to eat here, brush our teeth here. We will sleep and wake up, prepare our lunch. This is our lunch. We are preparing yam with shito. Then in the evening, we'll cook rice.
All attempts to get the National Food Buffer Stock Company Limited to react to the concerns were unsuccessful.
Reporting from the presence of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, my name is Kwekwe Diamansa.
Meanwhile, a meeting among organised labour, Sunan Asogli Plant Limited and the National Labour Commission has ended in a stalemate. Organised labour has announced that it will on Monday, July 10, embark on an industrial action following the dismissal of 3 of their union leaders at Sunan Asogli Power Limited. Describing the company's actions as unconstitutional, organised labour bemoaned the several attempts to get their members reinstated have proven futile. The following report has more.
Organised Labour and Sunan Asogli Power Limited's over 2-hour meeting with the National Labour Commission was to find an amicable solution to concerns raised by various bodies. Organised Labour has announced that it will from Monday, July 10, embark on an industrial action following the dismissal of 3 of the union leaders at Sunan Asogli Power Limited. Describing the action as unconstitutional, the union says the 3 had their contracts terminated because they decided to join the Ghana Mine Workers Union, which operates under the umbrella of the Trades Union Congress, TUC. But Sunan Asogli Power Limited has refuted such reports, explaining that an employment contract is not servitude and either party to the contract may terminate the contract at any material time. Addressing the media, the Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yauba, indicated that their strike notice still stands pending an outcome of a meeting between the 2 groups on Wednesday, July 5, 25, 2023.
So we have agreed that tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock we are meeting to discuss the issues that have arisen between the two of us. And we are confident that once the parties engage, we should be able to find an amicable solution to this whole impasse. The strike is still there. It stands. On the 10th of July, if our demand is not met, we will strike. But what I'm saying is that the engagement should lead to an amicable solution. And once that amicable solution is reached, then there's no need for strike.
Now, in a rather sad development, the father of the late James Lutrot, a rising star in the National Science and Maths Quiz, has in a heartfelt statement revealed the relentless efforts made to save his son's life through medical interventions before his untimely demise. James Lutrot, a talented participant from Keta Senior High Technical School, Ketasco, lost his battle with a brief illness on Monday morning. He was pronounced deceased at a specialized hospital in Tema. Citi News' Fred Duho brings us more details in this report.
2-methylphenol and phenyl methanol are functional group isomers. Right?
True.
Yes.
Many Ghanaians are familiar with the annual program known as the National Science and Math Quiz, NSMQ. In 2021, thousands of people rallied behind Keta Senior High Technical School, Ketasco, hoping they would emerge as winners and break the dominance of perennial champions such as Presec, Prempeh College, and Adisco.
Keta Senior High Technical School has 37 points.
The team from Ketasco, consisting of Francisca Lamisi, James Lutrot, and Bright Senyo Gajo, captured the heart. Bright Senyo Gajo enrolled at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST.
So this is from Citi TV to Francisca Lamini of Ketasco. Congratulations for a good job, and congratulations to the Ketasco team. To all of you, to Alex, to Wanda, to Bright, to James. Where's James? Mr. Lutrot, all of you, you did amazing. It's James who took over from you, eh? No, that is good, good. So let's put our hands together for them. Francisca, God bless you. God bless you.
James Lutrot chose to study computer science at the University of Ghana.
For me, I think following your dream, I believe in following your dream. Never give up on your dreams and always think of your dream, and that will help you to move higher. And most important, you have to keep God first.
James was full of life and had hopes for the future. He had great ambitions to excel in his education. Sources revealed that James had been accepted into several international universities on full scholarships and was scheduled to leave the country before the end of 2023 to further his studies abroad.
He's in level 200. He was in level 200 as in when everything started. He had taken his SAT exams and then he was scheduled to start studying abroad on full scholarship. Yes.
Which university?
He actually wrote it, so we got replies from some of the universities. I can't really get into detail. You already know for reasons best known. So, but everything was in place for him to travel outside before.
Unfortunately, tragedy struck when news broke of James's sudden demise on Monday, July 3, 2023, after a brief illness. Speaking exclusively to Citi News, James's father, Mr. Philip Lutrot, expressed his deep sorrow and revealed that he had done everything possible to save his son's life, since noticing a change in his condition when he returned home in April. Was it a case that probably doctors predicted in any form that the situation is quite critical, that he would need some serious intervention, whether medical assistance outside the country, and the family couldn't afford? Is there anything so beyond your control as a family?
Well,
There was nothing beyond my.
It was just a surprise.
But as I earlier on said, the moment I realized there was something wrong with him, I didn't waste my time at all. We started attending to his health, and he himself later gave out some information pertaining to what was happening to him and what happened in the school, and some of these things are being reserved for now.
Recounting the story to Citi News, a family friend, Boaz Ayita, mentioned that James passed away while receiving treatment at a specialized hospital in Tema.
There's a video circulating of a young man who is vomiting and pouring out blood. Please, I want you to know that is not James. James didn't pass on in a school or anywhere. He passed on in a hospital in Tema. He wasn't in school. It was a specialist hospital in Tema. I was at the hospital, and 2 other people were also at the hospital. His dad was called, and he also came to the hospital.
Dr. Ebenezer Owusu, the head of the Computer Science Department of the University of Ghana, expressed shock upon hearing the news.
I mean, somebody full of life to that extent, just to lose him just like that is very, very sad. He was doing well, he was performing well. I don't have his transcript before me. I would have shown you.
A classmate of James also shared a comment about his life on campus.
I would say he's an awfully quiet person. He doesn't really talk much, but he was really punctual in class.
We met from Kita School, and they were those that made Kita School proud during the 2021 National Science and Maths quiz. And then we became we are now one family.
The dad of James Lutrot has confirmed that indeed his son has passed after all attempts to survive him at one of the specialized hospitals in Tema. But here at the University of Ghana Computer Science Department, the head of department, Dr. Owusu, has also confirmed the same news, indicating that he was a brilliant student with promising future. My name is Fred Duho reporting for Citi News.
May he find eternal rest. This is the Citi Newsroom, still ahead. Scores of youth from communities in Obuasi in the Ashanti region demand the release of abandoned concession of AngloGold Obuasi mines. We'll be back with the details shortly. Please stay.
The point of view. If cabinet ministers have been accused of sabotaging a major government program, which almost every day was in the news, how come we haven't heard anything until after the interview and then we are told that this should be investigated?
With the complexities of the issues happening around us on a daily basis,
Bernard, we're not in a good place. We're not in a good place because we don't have access to the international capital market.
it's the hard-hitting conversations on The Point of View.
MPP and the NDC have had a consensus about economic policy. The fight really has been about who will be in power and who will be sitting at the edge of the trough and helping themselves and their associates.
And the probing questions of The Point of View.
How many times have I even showed the world's most expensive hole? Why can't they tell us the exact amount? And why is it that what they told Parliament is not less than $1 million?
The twisted entanglements of politics and governance.
There's nothing wrong for a politician to address national issues and also respond to critics,
as well as religious and social discourse.
I think that people are entitled to their own opinion on issues.
And so when the president said, I want to build a national cathedral, people can have their own opinion on matters. But let us pray that God will bless this economy so that we can have our roads built and the cathedral built.
The Point of View brings you the policymakers and duty bearers and drills down to the very bottom of issues.
As part of your budget for the year is a line item that says what? Electricity.
Yeah.
So what's your reason for not paying?
Economy.
How can the economy be a reason? What about us?
The Point of View airs every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV and is sponsored by Belpac. Belpac, just perfect.
Thanks for staying. The chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, James Klucha-Vigi, has expressed concern over the limited number of cars owned by the Controller and Accountant General's Department. To address this issue, James Klucha-Vigi stated that he would recommend to the Finance Ministry to allocate funds to purchase more cars for the office. This was during the committee hearing where some officials of government institutions and the Ministry of Finance appeared to answer some infractions in the Auditor General's report. There is more in this report by Citi News' Anne Shelley Ziwu.
The Public Accounts Committee has begun a public hearing to examine reports of the Auditor General referred to it. The committee is expected to look at the Auditor General's report on ministries, departments and other agencies for the year ended 31st December 2021, and the public boards, corporations and other statutory institutions report for the same year. On Monday, officials and heads of the Controller and Accountants General's Department, the Statistical Service, the Ministry of Finance and the Ghana Revenue Authority appeared before the committee. The chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, James Klucha-Vigi, expressed concerns about the limited number of cars owned by the Controller and Accountants General's Department. During the committee's hearing, the Controller and Accountants General explained that the department had only 38 cars in operation and were in the process of being insured. To address this issue, James Klucha-Vigi stated that he will recommend to the Finance Ministry to allocate funds to purchase more cars for the office. Deputy Finance Minister Abuna Osei-Asare also answered questions on some infractions and procurement breaches on the part of the ministry.
So when you see four cases not related to Ministry of Finance in any way, that is the problem. And this particular one for the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council has been pending. It's been in court back and forth. So judgment was given in 2020 and then payment was done. So this is the problem that we face. That when MDAs commit to certain activities and programs and they are not able to pay, those people take the matter to court, and when they send the matter to court, they garnish the Ministry of Finance account. So clearly you can see from here that it has nothing to do with Ministry of Finance. But unfortunately, because Ministry of Finance is Ministry of Finance, and in the minds of the courts, we authorize payment, then they garnish our accounts. But moving forward, this is something we have addressed with the Attorney General, and we are hoping that this will be minimized or be a thing of the past.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Amishadai Usuamwa, also appeared before the committee on unrecovered taxes and unaccounted revenue from some institutions and agencies.
I can say that for most of the domestic debts that we are going to go through, our collection rates have been between 80 to 90%. And as we go to them one by one, you will see significant collections at the various collection agencies.
Scores of youth from communities in Obuasi in the Ashanti region are demanding the release of abandoned concessions of Anglo-Gold Obuasi mines for community mining purposes to end what they call growing youth unemployment in the area. The youth have accused the government of reneging on its promise to get the mining company to cede portions of its concessions to the indigents to engage in mining. They have blamed years of wrangling between the youth and the mining company on the inability of authorities to streamline the activities of youth who are engaging in mining. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
For years, mining giant AngloGold Ashanti Obuasi Mines has been struggling to deal with the entry of its concession by youth from the host communities. A recent incident where some miners entered the shaft of the company later turned violent after the mining company was accused of deliberately entrapping the miners. This forced the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo to visit the area as a step to find a solution to the recurring issue. But this issue seems unending as youth in the area who are mostly into mining say they can no longer bear with the unemployment situation.
AGA is killing us because of hunger. Why? AGA has so many abandoned areas that they are not working. Why? If they give us 2 abandoned areas, they have more than 10 abandoned areas. At least they should give us Kudor, Ediefita, Kwakwai, Mobi. They have so many. They should give us only 3. We will survive. Here is the situation that we are not going to, we are not going to kill and then take something from them. We are going to use our strength to work. He said that he give us 60%. We don't know where the 60% is. He also came out at 70%. We don't know where the 70% is. We need the abandoned area to work.
The leadership of the Obuasi Youth Community Mining Association on Tuesday petitioned the government through the Obuasi East District and municipal assemblies. The youth and other indigents have vowed to pile pressure on authorities until they are given employment opportunities in the mining sector.
The management of the company always claim they have released 70% of their concessions to the community for mining activities. But there is no proven prospect of gold. There is no proven prospect of gold on the land among the 70% claimed by the AngloGold Ashanti. If there's a proven prospect of gold on the said lines, the company wouldn't have given 70% of the lands to the communities and acquired just 30%.
The leadership of the youth group wants the petition given the needed attention.
The youth have presented a petition to the district chief executive for Obuasi East to the president, but the DC had to restrain herself because of the tension that was building up at the premises of the assembly. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Obuasi, Ashanti region.
You're still live on the Citi Newsroom. Up next is CNR Business with Nashika Caesar.
Hello and welcome to CNR Business. My name is Nashika Caesar. Now, the coalition of individual bondholder groups has notified the government that the members of the group will picket at the Ministry of Finance from July 6 to demand payment of their bonds. The picketing will continue until their grievances are addressed by the relevant stakeholders. The coalition, which is made up of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana and Individual Bondholders Forum, consists of about 3,000 individual bondholders. Senor Hosi is the convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum, and he's been speaking to Citi Business News.
We have had to make this call to opt to start taking stronger social action interventions, not just out of our default choice, because our strategy has been to cooperate with government and come up with a win-win way, but out of it being practically the last option. We've been so reasonable and cooperative. We've not been out there screaming and shouting since we decided to sit on the table with government. We have brought our technical expertise to bear. We have brought our advocacy expertise to support the entire agenda. But we are being paid back in otherwise insensitive interventions from government. This kind of neglect, this kind of unresponsiveness is not one that should be of public policy access. And I think Ghana sets up. We have no option than to really start taking on very strong social action interventions, which are totally unnecessary.
Now, Ghana's energy sector woes could further deepen over accumulated arrears or attempts by the government to restructure debts owed independent power producers. The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, is warning that more mess could be created if the debt, which stood at $1.7 billion as at May 23, is subjected to external debt restructuring process rather than it being settled. The following report has more.
According to ACEP, the power sector remains a major threat to Ghana's economic sustainability. In its report titled Protecting Ghana's Economic Sustainability in the Face of Power Sector Risk, the energy think tank said the outstanding debt is indeed significant and that the recurrent nature of the power sector debt is particularly concerning. Government plans to settle the debt owed IPPs through a restructuring exercise to enhance the sector's efficiency and prevent an accumulation of arrears. But the move is vehemently being rejected by the IPPs. ACEP categorically states, quote, given the alarming rate at which the debt continues to accumulate within the power sector, it is evident that even if the entire $3 billion IMF bailout was directed towards the power sector, it will still fall short of covering 2 years' worth of the under-recoveries. Executive Director of ACEP, Ben Boachi, believes there is a need for an urgent tackling of the financial sustainability in the power sector.
It's a difficult economic circumstances. I'm not able to predict how that negotiation will go, but it wouldn't be the usual haircut where by regulatory power you just announce measures, because this is service provided and it has to be paid for. But again, if they look at their bankers and think there is a way to restructure the debt, I think it will help everybody for us to have a reasonable conversation on what is possible in that space.
Now, GC Bank PLC has announced that it has achieved a revenue of 3 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, reflecting a notable increase of 24% compared to the previous year. Despite the overall growth in revenue, the bank experienced a loss before tax of over 700 million Ghana cedis in 2022, in stark contrast to the profits before tax of about 800 million Ghana cedis recorded in the previous year. There's more in the following reports.
GCB Bank PLC says it achieved a revenue of 3 billion cedis in 2022, reflecting a notable increase of 24% compared to the previous year. Despite the overall growth in revenue, the bank experienced a loss before tax of over 700 million cedis in 2022, in stark contrast to the profit before tax of about 800 million cedis recorded in the previous year.
This program, which is intended to pave the way and lay a sound foundation for economic recovery, also had a significant impact on the economy and on the financial performance of banks that participated in the program, including your bank, GCB Bank.
While the bank recorded a loss for the year, Mr. Arthur emphasized the bank's viability and significant potential for delivering sustainable profit growth and enhanced value to stakeholders.
That's all for business. My name is Nashika Caesar.
And that's how we wrap up. But before we take leave of you, here is a look again at our top stories. Minority in Parliament to boycott proceedings in support of Ascent North MP court case as he is sworn in.